There is no better way to warm up to Company of Heroes 2's multiplayer than to celebrate the Red Army you'll have access to. Follow along, fair viewer, and learn how to adopt a scorched opponent strategy, rather than a scorched earth one. Don't get left out in the cold by not knowing, sorry, they told me I couldn't retreat from these puns or else I'd be ruthlessly gunned down. You have access to most of the Soviet units, with the commanders available to you from the start. Although in a brazen show of capitalism, Relic and Sega have put 2 commanders behind unlocks and purchasable DLC walls. How very uncommunist of them. I thought in communism, now keep in mind I don't have any experience with this, you get everything for free?
This land belongs to the people!
Oh no, I get it. They used SSL, Soviet-style logic, as seen in Enemy at the Gates. One person gets a copy of the game, and the next person gets a commander DLC. When the first person dies, the next person uses their commander in the other person's game. You start with the Combat Engineer Squad,
Engineer standing by.
used for building stuff, so it's not effective as cannon fodder, because the more you have, the faster things build. And neither are they good at turning others into cannon fodder. For them, one person gets a hammer, and the next person gets some nails. When the first guy injures his hand, the next man picks up the hammer and builds.
You need something built?
Conscripts
Rifleman
are
ready.
available from the Field HQ, the first building, which is different than the Germans, or they have to build a building to get to their first tier infantry. They're effective when in cover and can use a battle cry to get a little boost. They can be upgraded with Molotovs. One person gets the vodka, the next person gets a lighter. When the first person gets drunk and passes out, the next man takes his socks and stuffs them into the vodka and lights it on fire. SSL. It works for everything. From the Special Rifle Command building, you get snipers, which are effective scouts when garrisoned in buildings and told to hold fire. Scout cars can Kirby units inside of them and gain their powers. So, sniper-equipped scout cars make a deadly strike snake with wheels, if snakes shot 30 caliber rifle bullets out of their teeth. You also get Penal Squad infantry, which are a bit stronger than conscripts, and since they are probably convicted arsonists anyway, they can be given flamethrowers. One person gets a flamethrower, and the other person gets melted. The enemy, that is. SSL missile. From the Support Weapon Kampanya building, you get standard mortar and machine gun units, also an anti-tank gun. From the first tier vehicle building, aka the Tankovi, probably, you get a half-track. It's so very useful as it can reinforce units in the field. You also get a really agile light tank called the T-70, which can self-heal and drag tree branches along. You get a, air quotes, workhorse medium tank, if that horse was working with a huge cannon. Out of the second tier armored mechanized building, you'll find a Su-76M assault gun. This is an armored tank with a devastating gun used for assaulting light and medium tanks. A very tempting unit is the Su-85 medium tank destroyer. It shoots a long-range tank-eating round that's hungry for panzer flesh. For intrigue of the rocket-propelled variety, there is the Katyusha rocket truck. It's a long-range only infantry barrage weapon, so it's a little bit unwieldy. It has limited use for a truck loaded with such rocket-propelled hurt, although its name comes from what I can only tell is the second most famous Russian song in the world. If it was named after the first, it would be named the Trollololo rocket truck, which doesn't sound as good as the Katyusha, does it? As far as more specialized tread-based weapons platforms, the Soviets can mail order their tank brides via commander points, such as an IS-2 Khyevy tank.
I shouldn't do the Russian.
It's slow to fire, but super powerful. There's also a flame tank. Kane, eat your immortal bald heart out. Another commander-dependent explosion delivery machine is the howitzer, which is built by your engineers. And that about rounds out the Red Army. One person makes this video. The others wait till he dies and leaves a comment.
SSL confusion.
Just comment on how you all use these units in battle effectively. Thanks for watching.